everybody. I'm Mrs. McClelland and I'm going to be taking some first level literacy lessons this week. So I hope you enjoy what we're going to be doing. We're going to be following a theme this week, and our theme is about pattern. So for literacy, we're going to be looking at patterns that we come across in poetry. And in particular, we're going to be focusing on rhyming patterns. I really like rhyming poems, particularly funny ones. And poems can say a lot in just a few words, and that's what's really important about them. Poems tend to be short, the lines are short. It's not like a book with chapters and chapters and pages. You've got just a short line in a short verse, so what you say needs to count. I thought I'd start off with quite a funny poem, so this might appeal to you guys. It's the kind of thing that children say to me when I'm in school and they've seen me outside. How did that happen? Children seem to think that teachers live at school. Do you think that's the case? Although at the moment, when we're all at home, maybe you won't have this horror story coming true and you'll have managed to avoid your teachers. So I'm going to read this poem first of all. It's got a rhyming pattern. See if you can hear the rhymes. Can you remember what a rhyme is? A rhyme is when something sounds the same. It's always the end of the word that sounds the same, and the rhymes tend to come at the end of the lines in the poem. They're not always spelt the same. That can be confusing if you see the poem written down, but you're just going to listen to this one first of all. Okay, here goes. It's called Saw My Teacher on a Saturday. Saw my teacher on a Saturday. I can't believe it's true. I saw her buying groceries like normal people do. She reached for bread and turned around, and then she caught my eye. She gave a smile and said, "Hello. I thought that I would die." "Oh, hi, hello, Miss Appleton," I mumbled like a fool. I guess I thought that teacher types spent all their time at school. To make the situation worse, my mum was at my side. So many rows of jars and cans, so little room to hide. Oh, please, I thought, don't tell my mum what I did yesterday. I closed my eyes and held my breath and hoped she'd go away. Some people think it's fine to let our teachers walk about, but when it comes to Saturdays, they shouldn't let them out. That's quite funny, wasn't it? Could you hear the rhymes there? So the way it rhymed, there was 2 rhymes in each verse. So it was on the second line and then the last line. So that's how the rhyme worked in that one. This week, we're going to be having a look at a funny poem, and you're going to be adding to it and making your own version of it. Now, this poem is by a poet called Michael Rosen. You might have heard of him. He's very funny. I'm going to read it first of all, but then I've also got a video clip of him performing it. He travels around to theatres, or he has done in the past, and I've been to see him at the Eden Court in Inverness, and he was really funny. And he performs his poems, but he likes the audience to take part as well. So you'll see how he messes around with words. That's what he likes doing. He likes playing with words and playing with rhyme. But I'll read it first of all, and then I'll let you watch the video clip, and then I'll explain your task for today. So I'm just going to read it first of all. It's called Down Behind the Dustbin. Ooh, I wonder what's behind your dustbin. Usually not very nice things, things which have missed the dustbin and fallen down the back. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Sid. He could smell a bone inside, but he couldn't lift the lid. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Jim. He didn't know me, and I didn't know him. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Sid. He said he didn't know me, but I'm pretty sure he did. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Joe. What have you got there? I said. Wouldn't you like to know? Okay, so lots of different dogs behind the dustbin. Do you think he could really talk to a dog? I'm not sure he could. So what I'll do is I'll just pop on the wee presentation. And that's got a copy of the poem, so we can have a wee look at it together till it comes on and you can all see it. And we'll have a think about what we're doing this week. So we're thinking about pattern, particularly patterns in poems. Poems show patterns of words, sounds, and rhythms. We're going to explore some rhyming poems this week. So here's the poem which I read to you, Down Behind the Dustbins. I'm going to read it again. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Sid. He could smell a bone inside, but he couldn't lift the lid. Poor Sid. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Jim. He didn't know me, and I didn't know him. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Sid. He said he didn't know me, but I'm pretty sure he did. Just met him in the first verse, didn't we? Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Joe. What have you got there? I said. Wouldn't you like to know? Okay, so that's the poem we're going to be working with for the next few days. So we're going to have fun with this, hopefully. Now what I'm going to do is pop on Michael Rosen performing the poem. Now he speaks to the audience and the audience speaks back to him. You won't hear their voices quite so loudly, but I think you might be able to guess what they're saying. Have a think about it. I'm going to pop that on now. He is funny, so be prepared to laugh.
Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Jim. He didn't know me, and I didn't know... Magic, you just knew that. Yeah. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Jim. He didn't know me, and I didn't know... And you know, I did that the other day, and I got to the end of that, and the boy shouted out, well, how did you know his name was Jim then? And I went, I don't know, actually. No, I'm sorry. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Sid. He could smell a bone inside, but he couldn't lift the... Well, he was a dog, wasn't he? Dogs don't lift lids. Why are you telling me this rubbish? Down behind the dustbin, I met that dog called Sid. He said he didn't know me, but I'm pretty sure he... Well, that dog was lying, wasn't it? Why are you telling me this immoral stuff about dogs lying? Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Barry. He tried to lift the bin, but it was too heavy too. Dogs don't lift bins. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Jack. Where are you going? I said. Nowhere, I'm just coming. Well, you're still going somewhere, even if you're coming back. This is nonsense. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Nicola. She looked a bit like an onion. So I thought that I would tickle her. I know, I suppose, yeah, you could have tickled onions, couldn't you? Yeah, no, you go to the shop, you go to Sainsbury's or somewhere, and they've got these, you go to Sainsbury's, a big row of pickled onions, and they're all sitting there. Oh, no, that looks like me not breathing, doesn't it? Never mind. Anyway, here's the pickled onions. And then on the end, there's one jar of tickled onions. And they're all sitting in there going, "Well, stop it! Oh, you idiot! Get out!" It's just stupid. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Felicity. It's a bit dark down here because they cut off my... I get a bit nervous about that one because I found out if I go into like a nursery class or reception and I do all those other ones and then I get to Felicity, and I promise you this is what happens every time I do it. I go, down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Felicity. It's a bit dark down here because they cut off my, and the little ones always go, head. Yeah. Head? Why would it be head? I don't... Oh, no, it would be dark, wouldn't it? It's a bit dark down here. I haven't got my head on, you know. That was rather a London dog, that one, wasn't it? Got my head on, yeah.
So you see how you can mess around with rhymes and poems, and that's what we're going to be doing this week. You're going to be thinking about that more in our next session. So what you've got to do today, underneath this video, you'll find a document which has got a copy of the poem, and it's got some questions for you to answer. So that's your task for today. You're looking at the rhymes and you're thinking about the pattern in the poem. Okay, so for literacy today, that's the end, and I'll see you again for our next session of patterns in literacy next time. Thank you. Mrs. McClellan saying bye-bye now.